On the 28th of November 2012, a young person was tragically struck and fatally injured at a level crossing by a tram travelling at 43 miles per hour. Join us as we examine the incident in full, looking at one of the final CCTV images from the tram's front-facing camera, and find out why the young girl did not see or move out of the way of the approaching tram. The crossing, known as Bales and Wylais Crossing, was a public footpath that crossed two tracks, a single-line tram line run by Nottingham Trams Limited and a single-line train track operated by Network Rail. Located in Nottingham, the crossing intersected the tram line between the stops of Moorbridge to the south and Butler's Hill to the north. The crossing was well used by pedestrians as it connected Bestwood Village to many facilities such as schools and bus services. The maximum speed for the trams going past the crossing was 49 miles per hour. The tram involved, as shown, was number 211 and is one of 15 trams used on the Nottingham tram system. On the day of the accident, train number 211 had just undergone an extensive maintenance inspection and when released had no defects recorded. The tram involved was the 1830 service from Nottingham Station Street to Huckall. At 18:58, on the dark evening of the 28th of November 2012, tram 211 departed Moorbridge tram stop, entered the single section to Butler's Hill and then accelerated, switching the headlamps to full beam as required. Just before 18:59, the tram was beginning to approach Bales and Wylais Crossing. At 100 metres away from the crossing, the front-facing camera captured three girls exiting the chicane and entering the track ahead. In response, the driver pressed his horn continuously for 5 seconds and the front three girls reached the first railing. However, it was not possible to determine if any of them had looked up to see the tram. Sadly, 3 metres behind, there was also another young girl who at the same time was just coming out of the chicane. At 30 metres away, the girl was still a half a metre away from entering the tram track. Adrenaline had taken over the driver and he let go of the horn for 0.3 of a second before applying it continuously again and put in a full service brake application. At 5 seconds before impact, and with the girl still walking at a normal pace, the driver engaged the emergency brake, but it was too late. Sadly, 13-year-old Lindsay Inger from Nottingham was fatally injured at the scene. My thoughts are with her family. The tram stopped 49.7 metres away and the driver immediately contacted Nottingham's Tram Control Centre where the emergency services were called. The RAIB arrived the very next day. Obviously, the immediate cause of the accident was the girl walking out in front of the train, but they wanted to understand why. From the evidence gathered, it was unclear whether or not she'd seen or heard the train come in. The RAIB consulted with specialists to examine the decibel levels from the horn at different distances from the crossing and if nearby background noise played any part. Any noise to be heard must be 15 decibels above any background noise, and you can see that from 50 metres the horn should have been heard. The specialists did however suggest that maybe the horn could have been distinguished if it had been emitted as short blasts instead of a continuous tone. It is possible that the girl could have mistaken the long blast as a nearby car. Despite Network Rail advising drivers to use short blasts, this is not required on trams. Even though it was at night, this image shows the tram approaching at 100 metres away from the exact crossing and now at 60 metres away. It clearly shows that it would have been visible to all using the crossing. The RAIB, however, discovered that the tram's light may not have been the issue. This light on the crossing, fitted by Network Rail, was installed to improve pedestrian safety. However, the RAIB specialists concluded that it would have created a phenomenon known as veiling glare. This makes objects in someone's peripheral vision significantly harder to see. The last thing the RAIB examined was the design and layout of the crossing. The chicanes, as pointed out by the ORR, were designed to guide pedestrians to face oncoming trains, but these were deemed totally inadequate. The RAIB found that they did not overlap and were 1.33 metres apart. This significantly reduced their effectiveness. A previous incident at Morden Hall Crossing in London pointed at poor design chicanes as the cause of the accident, which, as shown, have now been installed correctly and more effectively. Despite the RAIB not ruling out the possibility of the girl misjudging the distance and mistaking the time she had to cross due to being very unfamiliar with the crossing, there was a considerable number of factors in terms of design and lighting which made the crossing a disaster waiting to happen. As a result of this incident, the crossing was permanently closed with plans to install a footbridge over both tracks, making any RAIB recommendations not required. This was a terrible tragedy that could so easily have been avoided. Thanks for watching my real life horror video. Thank you.